Yo, this is Chad Warren with Empathy Jam. I normally don't do an intro, but today is different. I want you to remember this name, Ladaro Jerome Penix. Not if, but when you are impacted by this conversation with Ladaro, aka Monsta Yo, one way that you can definitely help is follow and subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening to it. I will make sure to put any information needed about Ladaro in the description below of whatever app or service that you're listening on. Right here in an intro, Monsta Yo gives you some ideas of ways that you can help his mission and impact not only the rest of his life, but also the whole world. I firmly believe the world needs this man out here, and you're about to find out why.
I am awake because of your love, because of your generosity, your empathy, your compassion, your motivation. I am awake. Look where I stay at. I sit here in a toilet. There's a toilet on the other side. I live in a toilet, in a bathroom, 24 hours a day. Walls that are cold at night, where sometimes we're shivering. The reality is, you know, this is not a place for a human being. Yet, you guys take me out of this place. You guys fill me with this motivation.
Mm.
This is the reason why I give back. This is the reason why I focus so hard on generational wealth. I know how a lot of these youth have grown up without a father, without a big brother, without a male role model. I grew up the same way. And so I asked myself, if I had somebody to teach me the right way, how would I do it? And I go by that standard in how I teach these youngsters. When I got sentenced, they didn't just sentence the child, they sentenced the man. So two people were sentenced. You had the child that deserved the sentence, and then you had the man who did not deserve the sentence because the man would never do what the child did. The man would never be anything like the child. He understands and he's remorseful and he's saddened that he was even a child like that.
Mm.
When you're 16 years old, you think different, you behave different. But as a man, it's kind of like I've been in a coma. But while I was in a coma, this other person in my body was doing all these things. Then I awakened from a coma to find
Mm.
myself in prison. And I'm like, what did I do? And I get flooded with all this new information, things that I've never done, because the man would never do
Mm.
anything like this kid would do. This kid that was traumatized, this kid that was abused by his father in every way. You know what I'm saying? This kid
Mm-hmm.
that there's records of him, his father going to jail for the abuse. The man would never do it. And so that was one of the most devastating things for myself,
Mm-hmm.
waking up to that reality. I'm just touched for the people just moving with me. Continue to write to the DA, Gascon in Los Angeles, write to the governor of California. I believe it's Gavin Newsom. You know, uh, free me. Free a lot of us, but free me. I believe I deserve a chance.
Yes,
I'm working every day. At the moment of clarity, you start to embrace this thing called living remorse. Living remorse is everything at the point of insight. The minute you have insight over who you are, over what you have done, you start to change your behavior. And that's what I've done. I don't have to walk around here tough. I don't have to walk around here like I'm a beast, that I'm some tough game. No, I'm a grown ass man who loves life, who loves people. And I'm going to show these people what love looks like. Whether they want it or not, I'm going to show it to them. Love is love. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I'm going to be compassionate. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to smile. I'm not going to walk around here with this big mean look. No, I'm already big. No, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's how I push.
Empathy is my jam, empathy is my jam, empathy is my jam, 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 jam. I'm Chad.
And I'm Tiffany.
And this is Empathy Jam.
There we go. Peace, peace, King. Peace.
Yeah,
How's
man.
everything?
Dude, good, man. I'm glad this worked. I don't know what's up with that other one.
I don't know what the heck's going on. You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad we made it. So, and that's what it's all about. You know, making this happen. This is long overdue.
Yeah,
Long
man.
overdue.
Dude.
You know, here I am. Here I am being able to speak to an extraordinary musician, guitarist. You know, and I mean, this is awesome. This is
Bro,
awesome.
man, I appreciate it so much. It's just serendipitous. Like I feel like we're already like friends because we've been sending voice memos back and
Thanks.
forth and chatting
Thanks.
and
Thanks.
when I talked to Jimmy, he was like,
My
dude,
bro.
you got to talk to my boy Monsta Yo. And I'm like, I'm down, like, and here me and you get started and I didn't even like bring this up because it was kind of the point
Right.
that Jimmy wanted. He was like, you got to talk to him. And we started talking about music, me and you.
Yeah, that's funny. I'm gonna tell you this. With Jimmy, Jimmy is an amazing soul. He's an inspiration to our community. He's an inspiration to myself. You know, as kids, Jimmy and I were two different people. You know, as kids, we were the knuckleheads. We're everything that you expect from at-risk youth, and we were turned up out there. But as men, as grown men, we had to change our behavior. We changed our perspective, and we grew together. You know, and it's amazing when you grow up with someone, not grow and then you see your other, you know, friend, your brother still at the same point of adolescence. But when you see your brother grow with you, that is an amazing just feeling. It's a euphoric feeling because it's the game changer. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because now you both can live this life looking at the world through new lenses and deal with the world accordingly with a responsible touch, you know, with a caring touch, you know what I'm saying, with a motivational touch. So it's a blessing just to be able to just say that I'm brothers with Jimmy, say that I'm friends with Jimmy. That's my brother.
Yeah. Man, me and him talked on the phone the other day, just randomly. And after we did the podcast, that's the first time we ever even like conversed, right? It was just so raw. But then talking to him on the phone, and when you get into something with somebody and hear each other, it's just like we went on for an hour, like just like that. So I just want to say for people listening to the podcast, this is Monsta Yo. He's an artist. You're not a rapper. I mean, you are a rapper, but you sing beautifully. I mean, you sang me ideas just right through the phone. I'm
I
like,
appreciate it.
this dude, I just wanted to introduce you to the podcast and just say,
Okay.
I didn't know if you wanted to use your actual name at all, but I know you by Monsta Yo. Am I saying that right?
Absolutely. So my name is it's Monsta, Monstayo, Monsta Yo.
Yeah.
You know, my actual name is Ladaro Penix. You know, not only am I an entertainer, you know, who raps, sings, um, do reggaeton, whatever that comes into my mind, I'm going to do. I'm also an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? I'm co-owner of two magazine companies. Um, I am connected to a variety of publications. Promotion. I have a strong promotional team. I have a village. I am um, co-owner of a dispensary. Can of Muscle Russell. Me and Russell, we're just vicious in this. Yeah. So I have my own cannabis strain called Monsta Yo Glue. We have a host of other celebrities from Pineapple Chill, the Chill from Compton Most Wanted with his strand. We have Blue Sinatra. That's real Sinatra. He's an entertainer, a hip hop artist, a lyricist in his own right. Freeze, Long Beach E Will, Budded Rose. And so from there, you know, we just have a lot of things going on all at once. I'm also a published author of over 7 books. Um, I'm an individual who has my degrees from psychology, liberal arts, and communication. Also have my degree in theology. There's a host of things that I do have. You know, I'm not just an entertainer. I'm a human being. I'm a
Mhm.
grown man. You know, I'm an individual who's been through a real struggle. My life wasn't easy, and we will get into it in detail as we go on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I just from talking with you through Instagram and us sending messages back, like I know I can see I've been watching live videos, people interviewing you and you talking to people. You sent me a song with Sean Kingston. I was like, bro, that's all that you're the
Yes,
real
sir.
deal. It sounded
Yes,
great.
sir. Shout out to Sean Kingston.
Yeah, for sure.
One
Shout
love to
out.
Sean Kingston. Thank you for that. You
Yeah,
know,
man. Absolutely. So you're doing a lot. You said you work, you grind, you're doing school, you're teaching college in inside.
correct.
You're leading self-help groups. You're inspiring like I've been
Absolutely.
following you for a while, so I see like people respect you, man. Like they look up to you and like how did that how did that happen? Like how have you, because at some point Jimmy kind of told me some of the history too of us talking, and you've been incarcerated since you were 16 years old, and can you say a little bit about how your mindset, you talked about you and him growing up and seeing each other grow and shift into this making meaning and purpose out of your life. And can you just say, I mean, I know that's such a big story, but like, when did the shift happen for you to where you weren't, you decided not to snowball more in the negative direction, but now you started snowballing so much in the positive, inspirational, uh, I don't know if you want to call it that. I don't really know if that lands with you, me saying that, but I think you get what I'm saying. Like, could you like speak on that a little bit?
But absolutely, I'll tell you. For me, it wasn't just one moment. It was a series of moments. Um, reminded of that movie Slumdog Millionaire. In the movie Slumdog Millionaire, it was a form of an Indian who wants to be a millionaire. And every time he would get asked a question, he would go back into his life and it'll tell a story. And at the end of the story, the answer to that question will reveal itself. Well, in my life, there were a series of struggles that led me to this point of just an epiphany happening and making me realize, like, wait a minute, something different has to happen in my life. I keep going down the same road. I've become a calamity of errors, and I'm always blaming everyone else but myself.
Mm,
At some point, I had to face reality and ask myself, who is truly the problem? Is it the world or is it myself? Why am I going through all this struggle? Why am I so unhappy? Why am I so miserable? Why every time I'm around people, I'm creating this negative energy? And it took the self reflection for me to just have that awakening, for me to change, for me to want to change, And when you really strip yourself bare and really start highlighting all your flaws, you realize that, damn, I'm really the problem.
mm,
And so I just begin to just peel those layers away, with each event at a time, each struggle at a time. And the more that I recognize them, the more I fought to change. It's like a 12-step program. You always realize that you are an addict. Well, I always realize that I'm the problem. So I always work to fix me, who is the problem. This is the reason why I give so much motivation because I understand that I've been where a lot of individuals have been to. I've been to the brink of just ready to just cross that threshold of losing my mind. And I had to gain my sanity back. But that's because of the struggle. Um, One of the critical moments of my life was Katrina. I remember I used to walk around here all tough and bad and I don't cry, I don't do this, I don't do that. And I was watching Hurricane Katrina and watching how they put those people in that stadium and the way that they were treated. And I remember just feeling like I remember tears coming to my eyes. And
mm,
I'm in the cell by myself at the time. This was the beginning of me doing my 17 years in solitary confinement. And I'm sitting here looking at this, literally just tears just falling. And I'm like, where's this coming from? And I believe that was the start of my humanity stepping into place. It allowed me to realize that it's not always about me. People matter. People are make the is what makes the world go round. And if you don't embrace your humanity, you lose yourself. If you don't embrace your humanity, you become everything that the system wants you to be, an animal. You know, they want you to be chaotic. They want you to be toxic. They want you to be exactly the stereotype that they show in movies. And that's one of the reasons why I began to just, I don't know, okay, so that was one of my moments. Yeah, I'm back, brother. That
Yeah,
was one of my moments of clarity.
yeah, you cut out for just a second. You knew it cut out though, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So when it cuts out, it'll say connecting and then it just go black and then it'll come back.
All right,
So
cool.
I'm able to see it. So that's when I'll stop.
Yeah. Okay. So if that happens, we'll just do our best to be patient and just pick up where you left off, and I'll edit that stuff out.
Yes, sir.
So
Got you.
yeah, if I'm hearing you
But
right, you were kind of saying that you there was lots of things that motivated this change, but it seemed to be that Katrina thing, and all of a sudden you're not used to letting those emotions come up, but it seemed like they came up so strong that it just happened. It just came out of you,
right.
and you're saying that's your
Exactly.
humanity. And can you speak just like a little caveat on like what it like being a man and being that strong, and how we're not supposed to uh have emotions. Like there's not room for us is what it feels like. And what was that like for you?
Um, Being a man and being that strong and then it stopped.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you like just about those tears that came up to you, and kind of pointing out that us being men, it doesn't feel all right to dive into what's going on inside of us. We're just kind of culturally or socially expected to just like put that stuff down. Like there's not room for us. We're supposed to be useful.
My response to that is this: is that to me that's an adolescent way of thinking, and I used to be on that adolescent way of thinking. You're supposed to be in touch with your emotions. That is a form of masculinity. You're supposed to be in touch with your emotional intelligence. That's a form of masculinity. Of course, you're supposed to be strong, but all that makes you strong. I am stronger because I'm now in tune with my emotions. If you are hurt, God forbid, the Creator forbids, something happens to you, and I get a call or a text saying you're in the hospital, I am going to feel, and there's
Mm,
nothing wrong with feeling. It makes you stronger because now you send those positive vibes to that person. It makes you pray harder if you're a prayer. It makes you think about what can you do for the next individual. It's nothing wrong with being in tune with those emotions. Manhood is not about being all ego driven and tough. Having muscles. No, that's not being a man. That's a form of manhood, but that's not the totality of what's being a man. Man is he can be a crier because those tears allow that pain to seep from the core of your soul so that it can be released so that you don't explode and become somebody else or do things that is unnatural. You're supposed to feel emotions, but even in the emotions, you experience the emotion, but then you let it pass. You don't dwell in no emotions because those emotions can destroy you. They
mm,
can cripple you. So this morning, it's crazy that we're talking about this because this morning I woke up at 3 and one of my young little brothers um, had texted me sometime earlier that morning, and I had just saw his message, so I called him right away, and I could tell he needed my assistance. So from 3 in the morning to about 6 in the morning, I talked him off the ledge of wherever he was on the brink of doing. And he was crying and he kept apologizing. I said, stop apologizing. Experience that. Let the toxic out. Let the
mm.
pain out. Because once you let that pain out, I'm telling you that the reality is this we can then function correctly. Then we can get to healing. Because if you keep that pain dwell within you, if you keep that pain bottled up within you, you have to explode. And if you explode, it'll start off very passive aggressively. It may be towards someone that you love. Then it's more to the outside world. And then it just becomes just more and more toxic in the response. Then what happens? You've crippled all your relationships. No one wants to be around you. You're so called a black sheep, and you don't even know why. Because you've been toxic this whole time.
Mm.
Because you held that within. You let that shit out. You let it pour. If I'm hurting, I'm going to cry. If I'm hurting, I'm going to experience that pain. I'm going to focus on that pain, and then I'm going to let it pass me. And just like in that movie Doom, he says, I will not fear. Fear is the mind killer. I will face that fear and let it run past me. And when the fear is gone, only I will remain. Well, I change that word to pain. And when the pain is gone, only I will remain. And then I remind myself either I win or I won't lose. Either I succeed or I won't fail.
Mm.
So you have to succeed in doing better and not letting that pain overcome you. That's my opinion on pain and manhood and emotions of manhood.
Man, that's just touching my soul, man. Like, thank you so much for saying that. Like, that's such a that's such a service that you just gave. And like when somebody's speaking from their heart, like you just know they're telling their truth, and I can feel that vibration from you. And for men to hear you say quite the opposite of what the reality that lives in a lot of our head. Like, I don't think a lot of people think about it consciously. I think it just lives in them, like, oh no, I'm not good at emotions, and so I don't do that. But what I'm hearing you say is, when you don't do that, when you don't learn this, when you don't work that muscle of that emotional
Mm-hmm.
thing, whatever it is, that shit is coming for you, and it's going to show up
See,
at some point. And it most likely isn't going to show up in a controlled area to where it could be useful for you. Like you're saying, it's going to show up in a way that you might not even be able to repair it or survive it.
that's a fact.
I mean, it's that serious. You may not even be able to survive it, and it might just be with your own self, like you said, that your friend that you just talked off a ledge, so to speak, that I can only imagine he was in a place of like, man, I can't take another step. And it seems like here you are, that you lended your hand out, and you're like, hey, I've been there before. And right there, that's empathy.
Fact.
That's all empathy right there. I've been there before. Hold
So thank
my
you.
metaphorical hand and let that stuff out.
Fact.
Let the tears out. Because like you said, like, and I 100% agree, like tears, emotion, when you work on that stuff, like, of course you're not going to be good at it. We're not born good at relationships. We're not born just good at everything. It's like, it seems cliche to say that, but like, we have to start somewhere. And for you to like hold his hand in a way by just listening and reflecting back, is like, man, you bridge the gap to lead by example of like, dude, no, showing walking through this actually is the strength, and cleaning that out of your body. Like, that's what I'm hearing from you. You're saying, get that toxic energy, clean it out. Because when you're clean inside, whatever that means to you, when you're spiritually clean, or at least in just my experience, when I feel clean, I feel light. I don't feel heavy. I feel, and then I can make decisions into, like, my intuition is actually calibrated. I think that's what you're kind of alluding to. Like, you can make clearer decisions when you don't have this pain that's stuck in you, hatred for other
Absolutely.
people, judgment for other people, whatever you want to call it. It's like cancerous. It's shit. It's not serving
That's a
you
fact.
in any way. And if anything,
That's a fact.
in my opinion, you can get addicted to that shitty feeling, to where you're like, you feel like
Please,
you feel like you're
please,
you feel like
please.
you deserve that. That's where it gets really
Mhm.
fucked up, is when you
Well,
it's hard.
when you become a functioning addict to pain, that becomes very, very toxic.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? And so many individuals are functioning addicts to pain. Their
right.
whole life, if you sit back and listen to what they're talking about, their whole life is about pain and drama. Oh, he betrayed me. There's always somebody doing this to me. There's this. Nobody likes me. This. Well, all you have to do is change the energy, change the frequency. All you have to do is detoxify your own self. You know, it's crazy because the more I changed, the more friends I lost. And all of a sudden, I become, oh, he's the smart guy. Oh, he's the individual that's on that positive tip,
Hmm.
right? And it seemed to repel the negative energy. And I felt so blessed. Like I've become a repellent to a lot of negative tension. So my life isn't about who betrayed me, who lied to me, who's this, who's that, because I'm so focused on making myself well so that I can give my best self to the world. I'm not even thinking about that. Yeah, don't get me wrong. You pay attention to snakes, but that's not your concern. That's their concern. Because once you see a snake, you know not to be in its vicinity.
Hmm.
So you continue to walk your path and surround yourself with like minds, like energy, and you build from that. And then you become the light bearer. You all become the light bearer that's going to shine for other, illuminate for other individuals and
Hmm.
make them become curious and want to become similar light bearers.
Hmm.
That's what it's all about. But you're so right. Some people are so addicted to pain. They're addicted to the chaos. They're addicted to the complaint. They're addicted to the drama of life, and because of that, and they don't even know it. Because if you tell them, what you're addicted to, they say, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. But then listen to the next conversation they talk about.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah. You know what? It's like you mentioned the 12 step, and I also have about 7 years in the 12 step program and experience doing that stuff.
Okay.
And some of the stuff you were talking about reminds me of that, the serenity prayer that we hear all the time, like, grant me
Yeah.
serenity to change
God
the
grant me the
things.
strength.
Yes, the
Yes.
thing, and it's
That I
basically to
cannot
change
change.
the
Yes,
things I
sir.
can and let go of the things I cannot
Yes.
change, which is that negativity you're talking about. And it doesn't mean be
Right.
oblivious, like you're saying. Like you got to keep your finger on the pulse to keep yourself safe. I get that. But the
That's a
calibration
fact.
of energy of what you're saying is like you might put 5% over there to keep yourself safe, but it's not functioning all around that.
We left off at the calibration of energy.
Yeah. So yeah, I was kind of saying like if we looked at, I don't know why I like to look at stuff as like a business percentage or something, but like I just think of like we only have 100% of our energy. So it's like we might we might
Right.
put 5% on that negative to tune into it to make sure we're keeping us and people we love safe and stuff like that. But it's not our main focus. And like you said, like I think, and I've been there too, and I know you've been there too, to where like what we were saying about that addicted to the pain, addicted to the discourse. And we're addicted to that because we've experienced it so much that we didn't realize that subconsciously it has it's made us used to it. Like we're just like used to it, and it almost feels comforting in a self-sabotage way.
We're addicted to it so much that we didn't realize subconsciously that's what we stopped at.
Yeah, that we don't realize subconsciously that we've found some weird comfort in this like terrible cycle of like just going down. And I believe in the and I think you would too, like I believe in the snowball effect, the law of attraction, whatever, but not in a positive sense. It don't choose a direction. It chooses whatever direction you put more of whatever you put more into it, it'll grow a little more in that direction.
Yep.
um
It's the
yeah.
energy that you put to it. It's crazy that when you talked about your life and yourself being a business. It's crazy because I have a degree from I forgot I got a business or should I say I have a business certificate from Baylor University. And before I started doing that course, I had did another course called Defy. And in Defy, it talked about being the CEO of your new life, understanding that you're when you're first beginning, they have the steps like white belt, orange belt. It's kind of like the martial arts, steps. And in the beginning, you're the entrepreneur in training. Um, and I love that because we're entrepreneur in training, and I love the way that the foundation of that was built because before you can get into business and build a business, you must first understand that you are a business. Your body is a business. Your mind is a business. Your heart, you know what I'm saying? The design, the politic of your thinking, the politic of your emotional stability.
It's
Once
all
you can get that intact, you'll be effective in business.
it's all connected,
Say that
right?
again?
I said it's all connected, right?
Yeah, it's all connected, brother.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
bro, you have
And so, and
you have
so,
such a gift that you're sharing with me, and I just want to just tell you how much I'm grateful for you taking the time, like to sit here and just, you know what I mean, just chat back and forth for sure, man. Like I got chills a couple times, so I
thank
just
you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Mm.
The crazy thing about it is that when I'm speaking to you, I'm not just speaking to you. I'm reminding myself as well. Because there's times that I forget. There's times that I need to be reminded. And so, like, just like you are just as you are in the audience listening, I am also in the back of my head sitting as an audience member, listening to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know that. I need to get that back on track. Because I go through my own doubts. I go through my own struggles. But that's why we're always a work in progress. And it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to have those slip ups and them hiccups and everything else. The key is getting back on track. Every time I slip up, whether it's my anger gets the best of me, whether it's me starting to think things that I shouldn't be thinking, I say, hold up, reset. And I press that reset button. And the minute I press that reset button, it's just like everything just rewinds. And I said, oh, okay. So I'll give you another example. A young kid, um, he wasn't upset with me. He was upset with someone else. And as I walked by him, I said, "How you doing, young king?" And his uh, his tone in the response was very aggressive and loud. And I kept walking, and I sat there at the table thinking about what he said. And initially, my response was, "Who the hell are you?" And I had to catch myself. I said, "No." I said, why did I feel that way? What was my triggers that led me to feel as if my ego was offended? He was not upset with you. In fact, the tone wasn't even directed towards you. The reality is my childhood traumas was the reason for me feeling the way that I felt.
Mm-hmm.
That loud tone. I was abused as a child. And so one of my triggers is that loud, aggressive tone. My
Mm-hmm.
father was a beast and he terrified us. And here it is. This is a little kid to me. But for some reason, the trigger, that defense mechanism, wanted to defend the little child within me. And so that's the reason why my ego was offended. Because that inner child is like, protect me, protect me, protect me. So the ego jumps up and immediately it gets offended and gives that man that side eye, like, who are you? But I had to catch myself. I said, okay, well, that's one. Two, he's having a bad day.
Mm.
Why are you mad because he's having a bad day? Don't you have bad days? Don't you wake up every now and then and you might have a little negative energy? You got to draw that back in.
Preach.
Once I understood that, I was able to let it go. I released that energy. So when I stood by him the next time, he was just like, "What's up, homie? How you doing, brother?" I'm doing pretty good, man. And I genuinely let him know that I'm doing pretty good. And he approached me because he was probably terrified. I hope I didn't offend this big old guy,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But I wasn't even in that mentality. My mentality is, you know what? I understand and I love you, and we're going to move forward. And I'm going to teach you how being emotionally stable is what being emotionally stable is all about. What how to accept certain things. It's not always about your fist. It's not always about being so-called tough. You know what I'm saying? I believe that being tough is an individual that knows how to create solutions.
Yeah.
Not all of us are solution makers. We're problem creators, but we're not solution makers. I go into every situation with trying to create a solution. I am not a part of the problem anymore. I refuse. I've been a part of the problem. I know how to be a part of the problem. That's easy. It's easy. But being an individual that starts to check themselves. Yeah, I remember the commercial back in the days. They used to have this on the Saturday night cartoons. It goes, check yourself, and then it's like things you need to know or positive things you need to know. And so I go back to that sometimes. Just check myself
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times the problem is yourself and
Mm-hmm.
how you choose to respond to it. Of
Yeah.
course, you got to defend yourself at times. There are times when you just have to defend yourself, but majority of the time, it's just your own ego and past traumas that make you respond the way that you respond.
Yeah. I wanna jump in and catch this part when you told this story about this guy, this younger dude. Um, can you still hear me? Can you hear
I'm
me?
right here, brother.
Okay. So
Yes, I can hear you.
I wanted to reflect on like so me and my wife came up and named this podcast Empathy Jam, right? And we've had
Okay.
this kind of
Wow.
experience.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what this is what you're on right now. Is it's called Empathy Jam.
Okay.
And through a series of experience and stuff, I've been around this like practicing empathy and compassionate communication, nonviolent stuff for like 20 years for me. Like it's been some time since I was in high school. My mom got into this stuff. Um, but I just want to catch this of why this stuff is important is like I heard you, like people know what empathy means. Sometimes they confuse it with sympathy or whatever, and it's basically you hear, put yourself in somebody else's shoes.
You said I just want to catch this at why and then stop at why.
Yeah, well, for the most part I just wanted to reflect on how I heard you. First, what you did in my opinion is that you empathize with yourself. You actually took this moment and you were like, why am I feeling this type of way when it doesn't really make sense? You at least know enough that it doesn't make sense for you to get triggered and pissed off at this dude that had this certain tone with you, which is kind of like your old self came out and you're tracking it to your childhood trauma and stuff. But I literally heard you be like, yeah, that's why you feel that way. Of course you would feel that way, but that way doesn't make sense.
You said it was like my old self came out.
Right. It's like your old self came to the surface, like you said, because of this loud tone or whatever it is. But what I heard you do, and there's a way to learn this, and obviously you have it of like you empathized with yourself. We just have to find that patience, won't we?
Yeah, right. So let me ask you this: is it my side or yours?
I don't actually know. I think I'm plugged straight into the internet, so I think mine should be pretty
It
strong.
might be mine.
You
You got to
know,
realize that we have blockers here, so the blockers are probably blocking things from time to time.
yeah, that makes sense. So I'll try again of that. I heard you basically not only empathize with yourself of why you were getting triggered and why this loud voice was tracked all the way to your childhood trauma, but then you were able to put yourself in his shoes. You knew where he was coming from. And then a third thing, you were able to come back to the interaction at a different time and lead by example and show him, here's a little bit how you show up with somebody in a normal way. Whereas what I've heard from you and Jimmy of a lot that what would happen in prison is that right there could, I don't know, whenever I talk, it seems like it messes up our internet.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great. You're saying something very powerful. And you're
Yeah,
giving me a self-reflect right now.
yeah, for sure. And I just want to say it's so beautiful the way you showed up for yourself, then put yourself in this dude's shoes and tracked that trigger to when you were a little kid. But then you came back and led by example of how you do this stuff. It's like that attraction, not promotion, that 12-step type of stuff, you know. And then but I wanted to point out, you and Jimmy has basically told me that something like that could have, you could have gotten angry and had this like little thing for this dude for like ever, for like that can whatever that cancerous trigger
Right,
hatred thing, and then all of a sudden
right.
that could have led to more and more negative events for him and you, and that just happens all the time, like I can only imagine by just 100 times, just over and over and over, and it's just the snowball of negativity and unmet needs, and kind of leading to people not living. Yeah, it's kind of how it kind of makes pretty clear sense of how violence can multiply and layer on each other, and shit is just completely out of
Oh,
control.
absolutely.
Yeah, so i
Well,
i
see, there's a
guess
thing called the ripple effect. Sorry about that. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, then no, that's good. That's kind of what I was gonna allude. You're taking it in that direction of the ripple effect of like you broke the
Right,
cycle in that
right.
moment. You broke the cycle with yourself. Then you broke the cycle with the way you interact with
Absolutely.
other people. Then you broke the cycle as a role model of how to, like, hey,
Thank
brother,
you.
this is how we interact. This is how being a strong man is. That's
Right.
what I'm hearing.
Facts. And that's what it's all about because there's two types of ripple effects. There's the negative ripple effect and the positive. So had I taken it in a different direction, the ripple effect could have been this. Okay, we clashed. Now our allies clash. Now we're in the hole. Now we're at risk of catching another case. Now our whole program is sabotaged. Everything that we worked hard for to be positive individuals is gone down the drain because people see that we're quick to anger and everything else. There's a ripple effect in a negative aspect. Whereas the positive ripple effect is this: that young man has learned something. People around us have learned something. Now they may have developed better communication skills, better skills at dealing with individuals so that even whether it's old or young, so that there is less conflict. You know, that youngster doesn't feel as if he was devalued or bullied. There's so many things that has come from that situation. Now he's coming to my door every day. How you doing, big bro? And I'm doing good, King. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing that I've learned to do. I give people, my goal now is to remind people of their majesty,
Hmm.
of their power. I don't just address people as how you doing, my friend, except I call you king because I want you to know that you're royal. When you start hearing things that are associated with your potential, you start to act like such. Like just like if your whole life you were called crazy, you start to act crazy. Um, just like if they said we were gangster, we start to act gangster.
Hmm.
Well, if I'm calling you a king, if I'm calling a woman a queen of any race, you know what I'm saying? You start to be reminded, wait a minute, I'm somebody better than the titles that they've given me. I'm not a prisoner. I'm not an inmate. I'm not an animal. I'm not a thug. I'm not nothing. I'm not the black sheep. I'm a king.
Hmm.
Then you begin to be reminded of, of what you can do. The possibilities become endless of your own potential. So when I call you king, I want to awaken. They've given us the system itself, no matter what race you are, has done this subliminal messaging to keep us in our category of classisms. the upper, the middle class, the lower class. They give us these different titles and they put us in our place. And the reality is that we need to start breaking down those those messages, and re-educating each other so that we can be reminded that we're more than what they tell us we are. We are phenomenal. Human beings are extraordinary. Every last one of us. It took, it's crazy because when we come from that sperm into the womb and we penetrate that egg, every last one of us beat out all our brothers and sisters. And we were strong enough to penetrate that egg. We were strong enough to come into this existence. And now we walk this life of struggle. And we are still here. How can we not know our majesty? How can we not know how strong we are? To me, we are some phenomenal beings. We are the aliens. We are the blessings. And for me, I think that people need to really start tapping into that. Because when you tap into how great you really are, you start to treat yourself great. You start to treat yourself better. So I walk around calling all these young men, kings. How you doing, young king? The older guys, how you doing, young king? Because I just want them to be reminded of who they are.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Hey, I had this
Sir.
epiphany. I had this epiphany just thinking, we're, I'm gonna edit this all together, but we're struggling with a little bit of the internet connection, and it makes me think of, making these changes from your old self to your new self. It's a lot like this conversation with our internet connection, like it's not like the light switch.
Fact.
I say this sometimes, it's not like you just turn the light switch on and all of a sudden you're better and your old self ain't there anymore.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a
Yeah.
fact. I'm gonna tell you this. So I look at this internet connection as a teaching experience in the present. We were just talking about empathy and patience. And this is a moment where we implement patience. You know what I'm saying? Because we both have a message. We both have something to give to the world. So
Mm-hmm.
when the internet stops, that's my moment to just breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go on. It's a choice. Do you get mad at the internet, or do you choose to say, you know what, that's power?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I did need to stop in that moment just to breathe, because that's that moment of, you know what, wait a minute, we're clicking on all cylinders. Maybe I need to think more on that one topic. And then the internet is just right now giving me a chance to think about that real quick. That's the way I'm looking at it. So it's a teaching experience right now, even with the internet dropping. So it's allowing us to breathe. Just
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was. I mean, we're definitely on the same frequency, because I was just thinking like, man, this is what
yes,
change
sir.
is like right here. When change
Yes, sir.
is, it's up and down, it's all around, it's unexpected. And you have to find that, you hear people talk about that, your why. Like, what is your why? Why are you here? Like, well, this conversation with you is so important to me that the internet dropping once in a while or every 2 minutes, however it's been doing, is, we're not going to let that take over in this moment. Like, if we can't do it this way, then we'll do it another way.
And that's a fact. You said if we can't do it this way, we'll do it another way. I
Go
want to
ahead.
tell you how important this is. Like, I rarely do video interviews, rarely. So this is a testament to who you are. Jimmy spoke a lot about you. And I got to say, everything that he said was true. You are a good person. Your energy is real. Your kindness is real. You're a strong individual, because it takes strength to be empathetic. It
Mm.
takes strength to care about people who are not so kind to you at times. You know what I'm saying? And so everything he said was true. And so I respect it. So salute to you, brother.
Hey, man, thank you so much. Like, I'm humbled by you saying that, and Jimmy, and just like, we're here to, it takes a while. It takes a while to I'll just empathize with the individual that may not connect with what we're talking about, and just and being in such a dark place that it's hard to tap into that. But it takes a while to change. It is like it's never ending, actually. And it takes a while to change. Sometimes, a lot of times, it doesn't even feel like you're changing. And I can really feel for individuals like that, because I know you feel like that too. Like even these days still is like,
Yes, I do feel like that as well.
yeah, I'm taking my moment to breathe on these
I know
internet
that's right.
drops. Yeah.
I know that's right.
That one got me, a little. Is that Here's the
Yeah,
thing. This is so parallel to what you talked about earlier with that dude, is that like, hey, me and your connection is more important than letting this internet thing distract us from why we're here,
facts,
because right away
facts.
we could both let that bother us, and then all of a sudden be like, well, I just can't start my thought over and over again. But that's not, just like you could have let that dude having a little higher volume and voice or whatever, you could have let that deter you, and that connection would have never happened. And
Absolutely.
it's possible for us to change. It's just ugly, and people need to know. It's like what you said earlier. Your goal should not be able to change so much to where you're done. You got to find the acceptance. You're never going to change completely and kick your feet up and then you're fixed or whatever. Like, that's not the point. The thing, if it was a
Right.
business decision, you need to focus your energy on the getting back up on the fucking horse when you fell off. That is actually the thing that you're concentrating on. Like, okay, I know I'm going to fall off, because I always do, but I always get back on. So how can we make
Mhm.
those frequency of waves closer together, to where when you get down, you got a few tools like what you're talking about. You learn how to empathize with yourself and somebody else. That shit is strong. Like being a man like that shit is strong. That's the strongest shit. That's why me and you are attracted to this, to connecting to this
Facts.
conversation, because you start to see it in other people, and you're like, you want to give that gift away, because
Yes,
because
sir.
if for one, it makes a change in the other people, and then it feels good. It feels good to give it away.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's I love, man. Man, drop the mic. Drop the mic. That's a fact right there. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm with you there. You know, damn, you you said it all right there. My goodness.
and well
That was
and
powerful.
and isn't that what it is that, like you said earlier, it is simple. It's so simple that we miss it. And it's not about knowing, or, well, this is just my opinion. Again, I always got to say it's my opinion, but it's not about always just knowing what is right, knowing how things intellectually work. You actually have to put some stuff together in your life that reminds you of what is true over and over, because we
Absolutely.
forget minute to
Application is key.
right,
Absolutely.
minute to minute, we forget. And like you said earlier, you're practicing this way of, like, basically getting better at getting back up on the horse when you fall off, when your old self, when your old injured emotional, uh I don't know, 8-year-old self comes out. And then
Right.
you track that down, and that's going to happen. It's almost like, for me, it's just like, once I finally, and not like I got it whipped or nothing. I have struggles, and I'm all up and down all the time. But once I realized that, like, man, it's about the acceptance that you're never done. You're never done. That as far as changing and evolving, like, you're never done. It's cool if you're into sobriety or whatever, and you're doing the 12-step program. Everybody knows you don't just go to 5 or 10 or 12 meetings and then you're good, then you're healed. That's
That's a
just
fact.
not the way change works. You need
Right.
it repetitive every day, and you set up things in your life that do that. Because right in the beginning, when you start to feel that healing or whatever you want to call it, that feeling better feeling, um, yeah, you start to shift that little addiction to that, of to getting more. And that's what I see of you. Like, you just seem like a sponge, bro. Like, you just learn every single thing you can, and you take every opportunity you can to impact others. And you've unlocked that part of you that's like, it to be true. It's possible. You prove it over and over.
Application is key. I think that a lot of people, we make too many excuses and we don't apply ourselves. So the same warrior that you use to um, feed the negative, you use that same energy and turn it into something constructive. Put that same energy into something positive. You're going to get the same results. The way you were successful at being so negative, you're going to start being successful at being positive.
Yes. That's why they
And so
say
that's what I do. Yeah,
addicts
brother.
are super intelligent people,
Right,
because they
right,
spent, or we've spent so much time manipulating and like doing this little, like, it's kind of like an artistic thing, it's a creative thing,
right,
and it's almost like you just
right.
got to shift the direction of that same skill, because once it's unlocked of like what you want and what you're after, it's like I can feel that from you, man, just over a voice memo over Instagram. You're just like, right, I don't know, you got this charisma, but it's not put on. It's like, it's I know it's just
And I
you.
appreciate it. Look, I'm gonna tell you this. I've been through so much. There's so many things that I don't tell in detail, and I've been through a lot of struggle. I've been through a lot of pain. I've been through things in here that would make you just weep. The staff have done things to people around here, to me, to other people that were just, it's just shameful, and we're called the criminals. Um, but I had to learn how to heal from that because at one time, I was a true warrior. Now it's like I'm just a man of peace. I walk around here and everyone's just giving me that respect from staff to inmates. And it feels good because I earned that. But more than that, I'm now confident in me. I have knowledge of self to forgive. I have knowledge of self to heal, and so I walk with a healing spirit. I don't walk with trying to provoke. I don't walk with trying to be hard. To me, none of us are hard in prison at all, at all. And the reason why I say that is this. I tell this story all the time. So when every person comes to prison, I don't care if you're the biggest killer on the streets, the hardest whatever on the streets, the biggest, toughest. When you come into prison, you enter into a reception. At the moment of the reception, they tell you to strip out all your clothes. The first thing they tell you is nuts to butt. So another man's penis is next to your behind, and your penis is next to another man's behind. And then they formulate you on a line. They tell you to go on these footprints that they have on the ground, and you perform a search. So of course, you go through the motions of your search. Then they tell you to turn around. They tell you to squat, cough, and spread them. You do all those rituals. You
Mm-hmm.
perform that. You don't resist it. And if you resist, they make you do it. They put you down and they search you themselves. We're so tough, but we endure this from the beginning of reception. There's no such thing as being tough.
Mm-hmm.
They break you from the point of reception.
Mm-hmm.
And then we put on this persona as if we're that type of guy. Stop it. You have been broken from day one. And now you're just being brainwashed. What you should do is come in here and then utilize these walls as your college. Look at these walls as your institution of higher learning. Build, learn, educate yourself, change yourself. You see, prison is not hard. It's the people in prison that make this hard. The reason why they make this hard because you have so many grown kids in here and not grown men. And so the grown kids, they have this adolescent mentality of forever being frozen in time in their teenage years, trying to be a child and not trying to be a developed grown man. So they have this baby boy syndrome. They need everyone to take care of. This place is their crib. Someone's always taking care of them. Someone's always feeding them. Someone's always telling them what to do. Well, you don't have to tell me what to do. I know what to do. What I need to do is get better. What I need to do is help my fellow man. What I need to do is unlock these chambers, these triple chambers of darkness of being deaf, dumb, and blind. Wake them up and tell them, like, look, man, you're better than this. You are not a prisoner. You are not an inmate. This is not your home.
Mm.
Stop acting like it. Stop
Yeah.
being institutionalized. I was once institutionalized. I'm not. Not no more. I woke up and I live as a human being. If I feel like I'm going to care about somebody, I'm going to care. If somebody gets hurt, I'm going to ask them, are you okay? I don't care what race he is. I'm going to ask them, are you okay? If someone's feeling down, I'm an empath, so I can feel energies. There's times that I've pulled a South Sider to the side, a white man to the side, a Northerner to the side, an other to the side, and said, "How you doing, brother?" And they're like, "I'm doing okay." I said, "No, I feel your pain. Are you okay?" And then we'll go into a discussion, and lo and behold, they're going through some shit, and all they needed was somebody to talk to them. That's what it's all about. Employing your humanity, understanding that when you become awake, there's no reason for you to deny others this gift. If they don't want it, don't give it to them. Don't force nothing on anybody. But those who need it, those who want it, they're gonna love you for even just caring enough to ask. That's
Yeah.
the path I'm on right now.
Oh man, I hear you. Yeah, it's like you read my mind in a way because I was gonna ask you, we're getting we're vibing and we're like, yes, this is true for both of us. Like I agree, I resonate with it. And I instantly go like, can I empathize with either my old self or your old self that would say, man, this shit sounds like a bunch of positive, like blah blah blah. And when you're so stuck in that hard space, like, can you remember what that was like? And can you speak on that? Can you say like, yeah, I remember when, like, how can we reach those people? And I think that's sometimes my fallacy is I think I could maybe strategize and say the perfect thing, in like 12 step. It's like you think you could say this thing that's going to turn the light switch on for somebody. And in a way, if you get too attached to that ego that you could change this person, it can be its own thing. But like, yeah, I'm thinking about the person that thinks what we're talking about is bullshit, or not even bullshit, is that it feels so far-fetched that they're in such a dark space. And could have you been there, for one? And if you have been there, could you explain like what that was like, and like what would you do as your first step towards opening up yourself and changing the story and shifting your perspective?
Okay, so when I was in that dark space, I wouldn't have listened to me today. I wouldn't have listened to me. Your best bet would have been to come to me, um, give me your knowledge, but then walk away. And I've only would have retained only a little bit of it. But as I went through life, experiencing life, I would remember the things that you taught me. You got to realize that an individual can only accept truth, can only accept change when they are ready. It's just like an addict. Unless they're ready to change, they're not going to change. So you can put them in any type of rehab program, whatever else. They're going to keep sneaking behind your back and everything else because the reality is they don't really want to do it.
Mm.
You have to want to change. And so there's a moment of truth in everyone's life when your life is so freaking low and you're praying to the heavens, you're praying to the creator, you're praying to the stars, or asking something in the universe to change this outcome where you're willing to receive new knowledge. You have to be broken in order to rise like the phoenix, to want to rise like the phoenix. It took me being broken to say to myself, there has to be more.
Oh,
There has to be more.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at that time, if I'm at the high point of my toxicity, I don't want to change. I love where I'm at. I'm in my delusion. My delusion has become my reality, and my reality has become my delusion. And I'm basking well in it. You know what I'm saying? So you can't, someone like yourself, anybody, there's no positive guy can come to you at that moment of your life. It is only when you're broken that you're willing to receive this new knowledge, where you come to somebody and say, look, here's a gift. Here's the benefit of my knowledge. Here's a little advice. And you give it to them a little bit at a time. Don't force it down their throats. Not everybody learns as fast as you. You have to understand that as well. That's a form of being emotionally intelligent. Sometimes we expect people to learn just as fast as we learn.
Mm-hmm.
We never knew how fast we learn, but we do. Just some of us, we're just like you said, we're sponges. Not everybody is like us. They're going to access many times over, but that's their learning process. Everyone has their own learning process, and you just give it to them in the way that they need it. And even if you keep seeing them backslide, if they keep coming to you, that means they're hungry. That means
Mm-hmm.
they need it. And you feed their soul bit by bit, piece by piece. That's the best way for myself, that would have been the best way to approach me back.
I hear you. So almost like this concept of like um planting seeds. Like all you can do is
Planting seed.
show up and plant a seed without the ego, and it's almost like, yeah, you can just, I know I get in a mindset where I'm just like, yeah, people, like I think about this as sobriety, like it's people don't want to hear shit about anything you have to say unless they do. It's as simple as that,
Yeah,
unless they're
exactly.
interested. And that's what
Exactly.
you're saying. And it's like that don't mean that we don't say it and we test the waters and we keep living up and doing our thing, but like we're not for everyone. But it doesn't mean, like when you're living your true self, I really
Absolutely.
believe that it doesn't mean that you didn't you're planting seeds whether you're conscious of it or not. Like how you interact in this life
Mhm.
is planting seeds. It don't mean it seeds don't mean positive. It's just you're impacting, like you said, the ripple effect, no matter who or what you're doing, meaning like everyone's planting seeds uh with everything that they do and how they show up, right? So it's like, well, whenever you come to the consciousness to know that like you're making an impact by every single action, every single thing you do, um like once you can get that like then you start to say like, well, what kind of seeds am I planting, right? And then even another step further is who around me is planting seeds in me, and how to be and how to show up, how to be a man, or how to, like you said earlier with that example that you use, like how to interact with people, how to interact with people that act out and act violent or aggressive, like
Well, see, we've been there. You know, myself, I grew up in that culture, and so growing up in that culture, I know how a lot of these youth have grown up without a father, without a big brother, without a male role model. I grew up the same way, and so I asked myself, if I had somebody to teach me the right way, how would I do it? And I go by that standard in how I teach these youngsters. You know, people sometimes tell me, well, if you've so much change, why do you put out some of the music that you put out? Well, I'll be straight honest with you. It's a bit of strategic. You have to understand that these youngsters, they respect somebody they relate to, that they can relate to. that they know for a fact has been through the trenches with it. I've been through the trenches. I done anything under the sun when it came to the negative, and well, not anything, but when it came to the negative, and because of that, I got glorified for that. I don't appreciate it. I don't. I regret it. Everything, but that's what got me through these doors. And so when I put out some of the music that I put out, I let them know I've been there where you've been, and this opens the door for me to be able to teach them because now they're receptive to who I am and my knowledge. So if you talk to me, you're not going to get the lyrics that you hear in my rhymes. You're going to get this grown ass man approach. You're going to get the big brother. You're going to get the man that understands. You're going to get the loving ear. You're going to get the individual that's there and responsible and committed to his word and everything else. That's what you're going to get from me. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what it's all about.
Mm.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful. I really, yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, and I just want to shed a little light on you that yeah, man, you're an artist, bro. You got over 500,000 followers on Instagram. Like you got a lot of support. Your music's good. You can sing, you can rap, and then you do that all inside. Like that's amazing. Like it sounds good. The
And see, that's
quality,
another
so
thing. It
good.
allows. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. See, the reality is for me, what I do is I'm setting a tone. I'm showing these youngsters that you don't have to just sit in your cell and just be there. Don't think that because you're not getting in trouble because you're sitting in your cell, you're rehabilitated. No, sitting in your cell, being rehabilitated means you're being proactive at changing your life, doing the right things. Don't sit there being negative. Don't sit there promoting negativity. Don't sit there trying to plot. No, no. Fix yourself. Do better for yourself. Earn people's respect. Earn your own respect. Because once you earn your own respect, you begin to walk different. You begin to move different. You begin to talk different. You start speaking with intention, and it's you just become anew, and that's what I've been encouraging these youngsters to do through my actions, through my success. When I go into education, when I go in teaching these youngsters in the programs that I teach them, you know, they always tell me, man, it's incredible how you're able to do this. I say, you can do the same. All you have to do is tap into the genius that you are. Tap into the genius that you are. How do I do that? Understand your potential. Start day by day. What is your talent? I don't have a talent. Well, what do you like to do? I like to do this. Okay, well let's explore that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go from there. And we build from there. Think about while you're sitting in that cell, think about this. What business can I create with zero to little money? And go explore that and start your own business. Become an entrepreneur. You can create anything if you put your mind to it. The world out there moves so fast, so they miss out on so much. Here we're forced to slow down. Think, understand your potential.
Mm.
Take your freaking life back.
Yeah.
And that's what I encourage. My actions, my success, my building of this empire. It's about showing these young men and older men how to be grown men, how to take their life back, how to be responsible. you know, because manhood is about responsibility. And when you have these type of hats on your shoulder, when you have businesses, where you have a career, you're forced to be responsible. It's about for me, I don't do this for um so that I can be rich and famous and I do this for generational wealth. It's not about me. It's about my family. It's about my inner circle's family, my extended family. It's about your family. It's about Jimmy's family. It's about the village family. It's about Canna Muscle Russell's family, Lower Day's family, Long Beach E. Will, P. Nice, all of my brothers. It's about our families. I'm doing this for us so we can create opportunities. So for each other and for others. It
Yeah.
starts with us. We are the leaders because we are awake. That's why I do this. People always say, why you don't wear this and that And I got a big ass chain. I don't always wear it. It doesn't impress me. Like I've been in blues my whole life. So when I come home, I'm not looking to wear some whatever designer, whatever. I don't care about that. What I care about is making enough wealth, both mentally, both spiritually, and financially, to be able to support our families. I want you to be able to tap into me one day and be like, oh, my child's going to college today. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for the gift of getting my child through college. You know what I'm saying? Or I might tap in with you and say, you know, somebody, your career is going to take off. We got P Diddy for an interview today. Can you book him? Let me check my schedule. I got it. You know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah.
stuff like that. We're
Mm.
going to be wealthy in every way, but it starts here,
Yeah.
and it starts with being. It starts with being one loyal, two, um, respecting the bonds that we have, three, um, honoring your word. Like a lot of people don't know how to honor their word. They don't have this code of ethics anymore. Like I honor my word. You know what I'm saying? It's about showing up, not lying to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't lie to yourself, you're not going to lie to others. You know what I'm saying? It's about
Mm.
caring enough to taking the time out to be there for each other. If you need me and you text me 1 in the morning, the minute I wake up and see your text, I'm going and it says I need your help. If you tell me I just want to talk, I know for a fact you don't text me at 1 in the morning. So I'm gonna make sure I be there immediately. If you call me at 1 in the morning, I'm gonna have the crust in my eyes. My breath's gonna be stinking because I ain't brushed my teeth yet. And I'm gonna be like, what's going on, brother? Share with me what you need. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna be there. And even if I'm half asleep, dozing off, I'm gonna make sure I wake my ass up to be there for you. Because you obviously need somebody to talk to. And the same with me. I might call, I might text you, or if I need my brother, I'm gonna rely on my brothers
Mm-hmm.
because you guys are the ones that see me through. You guys are getting me through this challenge. You guys have gotten me awake. I am awake because of your love, because of your generosity, your empathy, your compassion, your motivation. I am awake. Look where I stay at. I sit here in a toilet. There's a toilet on the other side. I live in a toilet, in a bathroom, 24 hours a day. Walls that are cold at night, where sometimes we're shivering.
Mm.
Sometimes you have a celly, so you got to smell your celly all day. Another man, and men stink. We stink. We
Yeah.
just stink. I don't know what it is. We just stink.
Mm.
But you know what I mean? But the reality is, you know, this is not a place for a human being. Yet, you guys take me out of this place. You guys fill me with this motivation.
Mm.
This is the reason why I give back. This is the reason why I focus so hard on generational wealth. And again, generational wealth is not just currency, it's spiritual wealth, it's emotional wealth, it's mental wealth.
Yeah.
I want you to take from my strength. Remember, as a community, we're only as strong as our weakest link.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have no weak links, then we're unpenetrable. You
Mm.
can't penetrate us. You can't break us. We're Teflon. We're whatever strongest anything. That's what we are. So the way that I look at it is this: the strong make the weak strong, and the strong make the strong even stronger than what they already are. That's what it's all about. We keep each other strong. So
Yeah.
we have no weak links. If you ever have been down on yourself believing that you are a weak link, if you ever been thinking of, why I keep being a failure or whatever else, it's not true. You never was a failure. You had to go through that struggle in order for you to get to this moment where we have this interview. In order to get to the moment to where you met Jimmy, it allowed you to meet me because something in the universe was attracting your spirit to something greater. Where you're weak at, we're strong at. Take our strength.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. You said
Okay,
what
brother.
I'm weak
My
at.
bad.
So we fill in each other's gaps. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Where I'm weak at, you're strong at. There's an empathetic part of you that I probably haven't tapped into yet. And you're going to feed that. You're going to feel that spirit. You're going to feel that cup. See, when I go into a situation to learn, I empty my cup.
Mm.
Because if I already have my knowledge in that cup, then you try to pour your knowledge in that cup, it's just going to pour over. So I pour out my cup of knowledge that I already have, just so I can be replenished with new
Mm.
knowledge. So you have something that I need,
Mm.
some type of power of emotional stability, of empathy, of love, or whatever else that's going to make me better. And I look forward to it. I know it's coming.
Oh man,
My
this is
soul is like celebrating.
that's what it is. I'm so fired up right now because it's a it's like you talking about all this wealth, like you already know that you're wealthy right now in that situation you're in. You just explained you've unlocked it, and you know all the things you ever dreamed of is coming, and it ain't even it's I mean it's exciting, but it's not that big a deal because you already know it. And you also know no matter what the outside circumstances we have, being human is you go up and down and you get used to what you have now. And then you get a little, um, restless, whatever. And then you get a little ungrateful. And then you got to find that whatever it takes. And some people to find that gratitude again, it takes some really hard stuff. Whatever it takes is it takes. You know what I mean? But man, you just said some like everything you're saying is so I can't even like make it up. It just feels so like it feels like spirituality, it feels like God, it feels like serendipitous, it feels like coincidental, whatever you want to call it. I think it's all the same thing. We just put language in it in different ways. But you talked about this emptying your cup thing, and like I've been like whatever trying to like do get into fitness the last 4 months and really like just wear myself out from a different reason and working that part of my body and spirit for the last few months. And it's something that's really I've been missing because I get all like amped up, and then like you need to, just like you said, you need something to clean you out and make sure you're neutral again. And I started I took this I put myself out on a limb randomly through a series of events, like how me and you met. I met this dude that's a kung fu instructor, and he runs this kung fu class.
Mm,
And I've been 3 times like in a week, and I went this morning. And he's teaching me all this shit, and he's just like, when you enter the studio, you bow. And he was like, and when you bow, that's emptying your cup. He's like, I can't teach you anything unless you take that intentional empty your cup. And then here you are saying not kind of the same thing. You're saying the exact same thing. And
so I'm going to tell you, I'm a first degree black belt in Taekwondo. My family is a family of martial arts, boxers, all that stuff. And so it's funny that you say that. I remember the first time I entered a dojo, and the first thing I said was, "Where are the nunchucks?" And my sensei said, "How can we teach you nunchucks and you don't know the first thing about martial arts?" And I said, "Yeah." And I started doing all these fake kicks like I was Bruce Lee and everything else. And he said, "One of the first rules of martial arts is stretching.
mm,
You need to stretch." Then we went into the emptying our cups.
mm,
He says, "You have all this knowledge of what you've seen on TV that you think you know everything, but you must empty your cup." So it's funny that you're saying this right here as well, because it's a full circle thing.
yeah.
It's all a full circle. Knowledge. Knowledge that we receive in life fills our cup up. It fills our chalice. So we walk around with this conceit as if sometimes it's a bourgeois conceit, as if we know it all. We don't know it all. Knowledge is infinite. So that means we know nothing at all. And so, with that said, when you enter into new knowledge, you get that chalice, you pour it into another cup. so that this can be replenished.
Mm-hmm.
Because by that being replenished, just like you said, you're receptive and open without prejudice or um whatever, thinking that you already know this,
Mm-hmm.
and that to me, that's a beautiful thing, and you're if I hope you continue that martial arts class. Martial arts is a beautiful thing. It's not only empowering, but it takes you to new heights of appreciating your own body, your range of motion, your mental focus.
Yes.
People
Yes.
think that it's hard, and it is at times, but it's beautiful because it aligns you to a focus that you need.
Right.
It does.
It's way
Oh
more
my
than
God.
it's way more than like this ego of like looking good or whatever. It's like you're using your mind so
Exactly.
much that you already forgot that you're exercising because you're so mentally engaged, and like that's just there's no way that's not
Exactly.
good for anybody on the planet is engaging in that way.
Exactly.
Um let's if you're cool with like aiming towards like a close here, just because I don't want the podcast to go on too long.
Absolutely.
I mean, we could keep chatting.
But
This is Monster Yo. He's an artist, he's an inspiration. You're a business owner. I mean, you're doing like extraordinary things, and if anybody listened to like 1% of what of the knowledge you just spit, like it's just powerful, and I'm really grateful for you. And could you say your actual name one more time?
my actual name is Ladaro. You can say it Ladaro or Ladaro. Penix. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you, man. And like there's so much more we can get into because I was tuning in to some of your lives and stuff with people of like like writing letters in and petition, and I've seen all over the internet for your
Oh,
Monsta Yo.
absolutely.
And
Oh my God, it's been so beautiful. From celebrities to um, just people around the world. From overseas. It's been an amazing experience, and I am so humbled by people's humanity.
mhm,
People caring. As I told my last interviewer that when I got sentenced, they didn't just sentence the child, they sentenced the man. So two people were sentenced. You had the child that deserved the sentence, and then you had the man who did not deserve the sentence because the man would never do what the child did. The man would never be anything like the child. He understands and he's remorseful and he's saddened that he was even a child like that.
mm,
When you're 16 years old, you think you're different, you behave different. But as a man, it's like, it's crazy because it's kind of like I've been in a coma, but while I was in a coma, this other person in my body was doing all these things. Then I awakened from a coma to find
mm,
myself in prison. And I'm like, what did I do? And I get flooded with all this new information, things that I've never done, because the man would never do
mm,
anything like this kid would do. This kid that was traumatized, this kid that was abused by his father in every way. You know what I'm saying? This kid
mhm,
that there's records of him, his father going to jail for the abuse. You know, um, everything. The man would never do it, and so that was one of the most devastating things for myself,
mhm.
waking up to that reality. Um, but I'm just touched for the people just moving with me. Continue to write to the DA Gascon in Los Angeles. Write to the governor of California. I believe it's Gavin Newsom. You know, uh, free me. Free a lot of us, but free me. You know, um, I believe I deserve a chance.
Yes,
I'm
we
working every day. At the moment of clarity, you start to embrace this thing called living remorse. Living remorse is everything at the point of insight. The minute you have insight over who you are, over what you have done, you start to change your behavior. And that's what I've done. I don't have to walk around here tough. I don't have to walk around here like I'm a beast, that I'm some tough No, I'm a grown ass man who loves life, who loves people, and I'm going to show these people what love looks like, whether they want it or not. I'm going to show it to them,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to have to live with it. Love is love. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm going to be compassionate. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to smile. I'm not going to walk around here with this big mean look. No, I'm already big. No, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's how I push. And I give back. I'm even a part of a suicide prevention program, where people can call me at any time and or leave a message. And if I can get to them, I'm going to get to them. And I'm going to talk you off the ledge. And I will stay up all night. We will snore together just so you don't do the worst.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it is. You will not die on my watch.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, we're pushing the envelope, and so I appreciate again all the support,
Yeah.
all the love. And I thank you, Chad, just you and your queen for just being there for all of us.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
Yeah, man. Thank you
Thank you,
very
King.
much. And I just keep thinking like, dude, we need you. We need you out
Yes,
here.
sir.
We need
Yes,
you.
sir.
It is what it is, you know? And I come up with this thing, and I think it should be a poem, or something. Actually, I come up with it for myself because I can joke around and stuff like all of us. I use it as
Okay.
my own little mechanisms in life to or whatever. And sometimes I speak like, oh, I always do this, and it'll be like a negative thing or whatever. And I'm like, I'm
Right.
working on all aspects of myself, like you are. And I'm thinking like, man, I need to shift this. I need to start speaking what I want in motion and actually buy into it and believe it. And I think about this, and this is why this empathy stuff, I'm passionate. It's just all the same. It's all the same stuff that you're talking about, you know? And I thought to myself, I said, these words came out. I said, I have what I need right now. And I thought, oh shit, I can get behind that. Like whenever I'm struggling, whenever I'm worried, I'm financially worried or whatever it is, and I'm unsettled, I can be like, nope. But if I'm really present right in this moment, I have what I need right now. It doesn't matter if I run out of money later. That's just all fear shit. Maybe so, whatever.
Agree.
And then I thought a step further. So I pulled out my phone. I do this all the time when I have a little, and you probably do this too. When I have something that's hit me, a concept, I'll just pull out my phone and like I'll talk it out real quick. So I have it to come back to when I'm in my low spot, right? So I can pull that up and I'll
Right.
have something
Right.
to share with the world or with myself. And I just started staring at the phone. I go, I have what I need right now. I have what I need right now. But then I started messing up the words. I accidentally said, you have what I need right now. And then I said, you have what we need right now. And I started messing with the words a little. And
There we go.
I was thinking
There we
maybe this
go.
could be a song or something. Maybe this could be a poem or something. And then I thought,
Huh.
in any moment of resistance, which would be resistance with myself, resistance with you, with somebody else, with my wife, with a partner, whatever it is. In
Right.
that moment, if there was the consciousness to say, and you said this is what's crazy. You said these exact words to me just now. And I thought of this, especially with the race, whatever it is that divides people, and I thought to say these three lines. You have what I need right now. I have what you need right now. And then the third one would be we have what we need right now. Meaning we have what we need right now to get through whatever fucking shit we got to get through. Whatever you know what I mean? And I thought, I call my buddy, my singer songwriter buddy, and we got this song coming out that I might have to. It's gonna be a while, but I feel like it's an important song, and I think I'm gonna have to send it to you and just see how it hits you. And but I was
Okay.
just thinking like, holy shit, that's so simple. It's like what you were saying earlier. It's so simple that you miss it. because it's so simple. And in any moment of conflict with that dude that raised his voice at you, it's like you have what he needed in that moment. You also have what you need in that moment, right in that moment. And it's more about noticing. And then we have what we need to move forward right now.
Look, I want to tell you this. You hit all the key points. I have to go. They're passing out chow right now. So I want to say thank you, brother, for everything, man.
Yeah.
Peace, love. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Man, that was powerful. Thank you, brother.
Hey, we'll talk, bro. Much love. I'll talk to you soon.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening. We have a request for you. Please make sure to follow Empathy Jam on whatever app you are listening on. This is so important in helping us share our passion for empathy. If you would like to receive empathy and/or to share your story with us, our email is hello@empathyjampodcast.com.
Empathy is my jam, 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 jam.